Thanks for having me. The good news is 99.95% of the folks who travel on Airbnb, those guests, come and stay at homes and treat those homes like they're their own homes, and the hosts treat the guests like they're extended members of their family. But, a little context here. Over the last 4 or 5 weeks, on the Airbnb platform in North America and really other parts of the world, we've seen the business really begin to recover. People do want to travel. It's inherent to being a human. Here in the U.S., we're directionally basically the same over the last 4 or 5 weeks from a growth perspective, activity perspective, as we were in 2019 over the same time period. And amongst the reasons we're seeing that type of recovery, I want to be clear, we haven't recovered, it's a recovery. But amongst the reasons we're seeing that is that people do inherently get that being able to have your own home to stay in is just inherently safer, right? You have your own kitchen, you can have your own pool, multiple bedrooms. But as we've seen that type of activity take place on the platform, we've been exceptionally cognizant of wanting to make sure that we're promoting and supporting safe, responsible, healthy travel. We think the very nature of how that travel is taking place is already happening. But we always want to do as much as we can do to make sure we're promoting healthy and safe travel. And so today, we're really sharing this policy, which, as you described really accurately, means that if you're under 25 and you have less than 3 reviews, you won't be able to make a reservation in the market that you're living in. And that's really being done to make sure that we're prioritizing and optimizing for the safety of that host, safety of the guest, and safety of the community where we're operating in.
Will you keep that policy forever? Because I guess even if we get into healthier times where the virus isn't a risk, that there would be some deception involved in anyone that books a house for the intention of having a party. I'm sure the renter wouldn't want to rent it out if they knew that was happening.
Yeah, so a couple of things, and a great question. First of all, we have something that's called a community standard. You have to agree to behave in certain ways to be on the Airbnb platform, whether you're a host or a guest. We have $1 million insurance policy here in the U.S. that goes to hosts so that they're protected. But right before the pandemic, we actually introduced a total ban on party houses on the platform, meaning those types of houses where people were really using those houses to be a public nuisance. We have sought to remove thousands of those from the platform. In January, I believe, or it may have been December, we did a program with the city of Los Angeles where we took down about 30 houses that really fell into that category. And then in Canada, we had actually put in place this particular policy several months ago and saw that it was really having a positive impact. And so informed by what we saw in Canada, what it has informed and really helped us understand how we could best do this in the United States. And so again, sharing that policy today informed an awful lot by what we have seen in Canada. And as we go forward, we're going to continue to try to learn and understand. We probably have more data than any other travel company in the world, right? In 220 countries and regions, we have over 500 million users, 500 billion users, sorry. And that gives us just a lot of data. So we will get data to see how this policy is working here in the U.S. And as we go forward, continue to adapt and modify things. At the end of the day, we're a platform based on trust. We've invested more in our trust measures and even our rates of growth over the last few years. And the more we invest in support trust, growth comes out of that as a result.
Yeah, Chris, it's Morgan. I mean, certainly you mentioned the ban that you put in place back in December. Party houses have been an issue on the Airbnb platform for quite a number of years. It's something you and I have talked about in the past as well, particularly some of those illegal listings in markets based on local regulations. I'm just curious, the steps you're taking today in the wake of coronavirus, why did it take coronavirus to make these steps? And I guess how does it speak more broadly to the policing efforts of things like party houses and protocols around safety in general?
I think for us, it's a great question. I think, for us, as I was saying, trust is incredibly important. We do want to invest in it, at every step of the way. We came up with this under 25 program, a little bit informed by what we saw some of the rental car companies had historically done. We did announce it in Canada, saw that it was really having a material impact, along with the total party house ban. And so I think anytime you're a two-sided platform, a two-sided global network, like we are, right, where you have both hosts, guests, and you're in communities, you constantly have to be modifying and adapting and learning. Like, we're only going to grow at the speed of trust. And look, right now, we are obviously in such a global health crisis that I think anyone who's in this space, in this sector, has to be looking at ways that they can prioritize and optimize growth. I mean, I'll give you another example because your question relates to this. Back in March, when the WHO, the World Health Organization, declared a global pandemic, I think we were the first, certainly amongst the first, travel and tourism-based companies to announce that we were going to allow guests to get a total refund. We did that because we really wanted to prioritize for their health and safety, and for the safety of health, the health and safety of communities that we're in. We took a hit on that. Our hosts took a hit on it. The right thing to do. And so I do think that's really our mindset, which is how can we prioritize trust? And right now, health and safety is right at the top of the list, obviously.
Yeah. Chris Lehane of Airbnb, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. I hope everyone has a safe, responsible July 4th. Thank you guys for everything that you're doing. I know it's really tough out there.
You too.